Hi, welcome to this video about what to expect in the first speaking test. Many students get very stressed before the speaking test exam, and sometimes when you're very stressed it means that you can't think of what to say and you freeze and simple vocabulary just doesn't come into your mind. So hopefully these few tips will make you feel more relaxed about doing the speaking tests. So let's start. So let's start with the beginning of the speaking test. When you enter the room with your partner or partners, the examiner will ask you to sit down and then the speaking test will begin. What's sure is the examiner won't be wearing crazy glasses like these, and they won't get up and embrace you and shake your hands and say, "Hey, it's wonderful to see you, fantastic." No, they won't do that. So at the beginning of the speaking test, the examiner will say good morning to you, introduce the other examiner sitting in the room, and then they'll ask you for your mark sheets. And then they'll ask you your names, and in part one of the speaking test, they'll ask you a few questions about what you think about different things, about things you've enjoyed, about maybe films you've seen, celebrations in your country, just general everyday topics. And the idea is to help you relax. So that's what will happen at the beginning of the speaking test in part one. What about if the examiner asks you a question and you don't know what to say, or you don't understand what he or she said? Well, if you didn't understand the question, it's fine to ask the examiner to repeat it once or twice. But if you really have no idea about how to answer the question, it's better to tell the examiner to say, "I'm sorry, I really don't know what to say." And then the examiner will just ask you another question. It's better to be truthful, to be honest, and not to waste 30, 40 seconds in silence. Okay. Something else that students often worry about is, what if I haven't finished answering the question, for example, in part 3? That's fine. The tasks in the speaking test are there for you to give you something to talk about so the examiners can listen to your English. If you don't have time to finish it, that's all right. So it's quite normal that if you're speaking quite a lot with your partner, or if you're speaking quite a lot on your own in part 2, after a minute in part 2, the examiner will interrupt you. And after 2 minutes in part 3, the examiner will interrupt you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay? What about if you don't understand a word? Can you ask the examiner to explain it to you? Well, if you do ask the examiner, he or she will just repeat the question. The examiner can't explain the word to you. If you're lucky and it's in part 3 or part 4, maybe your partner can help you. But the examiner is not allowed to explain a word to you. They will just repeat the question. Sometimes people think, "Oh my God, I don't understand the question," because they don't understand one word. But usually, if you listen to the question again, you can often guess the meaning of one word. So just ask the examiner to repeat the question and see if you can get the general meaning of what he or she is asking you. Just like the examiner won't be wearing a crazy Halloween costume item like I'm wearing now, so in the speaking test, the examiner won't say things like, "Oh, that was a great answer, fantastic vocabulary, I really love your pronunciation." It just won't happen, so don't expect it. Sometimes students ask examiners at the end of the speaking test if they can give them some feedback about how well they did. The examiner can't give you that information. They will just say, thank you, that's the end of the test, and then it's your turn to leave the room and you can go away and celebrate and have a coffee or drink with your friend. The examiners write down your marks on mark sheets, which are then sent away, and they're all added together with the other parts of the exam, and in the end you'll get a result. So the examiner can't give you any feedback on your speaking test. Just know that if you answer the questions as well as you could and you spoke quite well for quite a long time, I'm sure you will have done fine. Okay? So that's it really. The speaking test can be one of the easiest parts of the first exam, but if you get very stressed and very nervous, sometimes you freeze. And we don't want that to happen, do we? So go in there, smile, say good morning or good afternoon, whatever time it is, and try to enjoy the speaking test. It's only 14 minutes, and if you imagine you're having a chat with your friend or your partner, then it's like having a conversation in a cafe. And if you enjoy it, I'm sure you will do really well. Anyway, hope you find this little video useful. Thanks for watching.